doesn't matter what they look at it as a threat to their life and obstructing justice. That's what essentially they're saying that Renee Good did. But separately, the response is the biggest part of this whole thing, is that there's a lack of consistency. J.D. Vance went in front of the public and said immediately that this officer who killed Renee Good has this immunity that we're talking about. And the immunity that he's referencing usually is in regard to civil trials. And so any police officer or any law enforcement official that does anything that may be reviewed in this way.
Qualified immunity is what you're talking about.
Exactly. He's saying, he basically is suggesting that as if he has complete and autonomous immunity. There's no laws in our books that say if a police officer egregiously violates the law that they have immunity. This is about civil trials. And so he's trying to convince the public that we shouldn't even be looking into this, when in fact an investigation should and will prevail, and we definitely need to be
qualified immunity. Look, I don't love the idea of qualified immunity, but it does exist. You can't just, like, I would be for reforming the system to limit qualified immunity.
And it's about civil trials.
You can't just
civil trials.
Sue the
Exactly.
right. You can't just if you've been mistreated by a government agent, you can't really sue that agent. You have to basically sue the government itself, which is very hard to do. So it's a kind of presumption that the individual agents of the state aren't going to face responsibility for things they've done wrong in a civil context if they've mistreated you. If they've murdered you, they're still going to face criminal.
And it doesn't protect you criminally. And so I think the fact that J.D. Vance kind of was elusive in his statement and made it seem like
I think he even said absolute. There's not absolute.
Yeah, absolutely. He was. That's what I mean. He was very forward. And these are the top leadership officials that are very closely connected to this investigation. And so when people are saying that they're afraid that there's transparency, it doesn't mean that Walz needs to be at the top of the investigation. It doesn't mean that the mayor
Walz
needs to be.
And Jacob Frey have prejudged the case just as much as Noem and J.D. Vance have. Jacob Frey said that it was self-defense was an expletive. There's no way.
I acknowledge that. That's why at the very least both parties need to have independent investigators, not just one side of that argument, right? If not, then just completely release both parties from it and allow an entire independent investigation to review this thing.